Most people think the problem in real estate is pricing, commissions, or technology. But the real problem is much bigger than that. The experience itself feels old. Think about how we book flights, buy products, watch movies, or invest money today. Everything is instant. Everything is transparent. Everything is built around giving consumers control. But real estate still feels confusing, slow, and difficult for the average person. People are asked to trust systems they do not fully understand, sign agreements they cannot easily compare, and make life-changing decisions with limited transparency. That is the gap this presentation is about. This is not just about changing a business model. It is about changing the experience consumers believe they deserve. This is Steve Koleno, and this is Confidential Remarks. Consumers today are smarter, faster, and more informed than ever before. People expect choices. They expect transparency. They expect to compare options instantly. And they expect technology to remove confusion instead of creating more of it. That expectation exists in almost every industry already. When someone shops online, they can compare products immediately. When someone invests money, they can track information in real time. When someone books travel, they can see pricing instantly without calling an agent. But in real estate, many consumers still feel like information is hidden behind gates. And when people feel like information is being controlled, trust disappears. The future consumer does not want more pressure. They want more clarity. Almost every major industry evolved because consumers demanded a better experience. Travel became online booking. Shopping became Amazon. Entertainment became Netflix. Investing became instant access through apps on your phone. But real estate still operates in ways that feel stuck in the past. In many cases, consumers still cannot easily see all pricing, compare service models, or understand how money moves through the system. Imagine if Amazon hid prices until after a meeting. Imagine if Netflix required paperwork before showing movies. That would sound ridiculous. But versions of that experience still happen in real estate every day. The question is simple. Why should the biggest financial decision of someone's life feel less modern than ordering a pair of shoes online? When information is difficult to access, people lose confidence. Many consumers feel like real estate has too many hidden steps, too many delays, too much confusion, and too many moments where they feel pressured instead of informed. The problem is not that professionals exist. The problem is when consumers feel dependent on gatekeepers just to understand basic information. A modern system should help people feel educated, confident, and aware of their choices. Transparency should not be treated like a special feature. It should be the standard because when consumers understand the process clearly, they make better decisions. And better decisions create better outcomes for everyone. Most consumers see one number, but they rarely see where all the money actually goes. In many real estate transactions, money gets divided across multiple layers: brokerages, teams, referral fees, advertising platforms, franchise costs, and other hidden expenses inside the system. The issue is not whether businesses should make money. Of course they should. The issue is whether consumers fully understand what they are paying for, because transparency builds trust. And when people clearly understand value, they feel more confident in the process. Consumers are not asking for perfection. They're asking for honesty and clarity. There's a major difference between a salesperson and a trusted advisor. A salesperson focuses on closing quickly. A trusted advisor focuses on helping people make the right decision. That difference matters. Consumers today do not want pressure. They do not want fake urgency. They do not want emotional manipulation. They want someone who explains the trade-offs honestly, someone who gives context, someone who helps them think clearly. The future of real estate is not about becoming more aggressive. It is about becoming more trusted. And trust is built through patience, transparency, and education. For years, real estate has mostly operated one way, one process, one structure, one path. But consumers are different. Some people want full support. Some people want digital tools. Some people want hybrid solutions. And some people simply want more control over the experience. The future is not one option for everyone. The future is flexibility. Real innovation is giving consumers choices instead of forcing them into a single system, because choice creates empowerment. And empowered consumers make smarter decisions. Imagine if airlines hid ticket prices until after a meeting. Imagine if Uber only showed the cost after the ride ended. Imagine if Amazon made you sign paperwork before seeing reviews. Nobody would accept that experience. So why do consumers still accept similar friction in real estate? The answer is simple. Because for a long time, people believed there were no alternatives. But expectations are changing. Consumers are beginning to ask harder questions. They want transparency. They want speed. And they want experiences that feel modern instead of complicated. Real estate does not have to stay stuck in the past. Somewhere along the way, the consumer stopped being the center of the experience. Too much focus shifted toward internal competition, recruiting battles, rankings, and commission structures. Meanwhile, the actual consumer experience became more confusing. But the industry should revolve around the person making the biggest financial decision of their life. That should always be the priority. A consumer-first system asks a different question. Not, how do we protect the old model? But, how do we create the best experience possible for the customer? That shift changes everything. Consumers already live in a digital world. They expect speed, convenience, personalization, and simple experiences. But parts of real estate still feel like they were built decades ago. That creates frustration because consumers know better experiences already exist in other industries. The future is not something coming later. The future is already here. The only question is whether the industry is willing to evolve with consumer expectations. Because eventually, every industry adapts to what consumers demand most: simplicity, transparency, and control. This conversation is not about attacking agents. It is not about eliminating professionals. And it is not about racing to the cheapest possible service. This is about evolution. Open access means creating a system that gives consumers more visibility, more flexibility, and more confidence. Good advisors will always matter. In fact, trusted advisors become even more valuable in transparent systems. Because when information becomes easier to access, trust becomes the real differentiator. The goal is not less professionalism. The goal is better alignment between professionals and consumers. We believe consumers deserve options. We believe transparency creates trust. We believe technology should reduce confusion instead of increasing it. And we believe the biggest financial decision of someone's life should feel empowering, not intimidating. Real estate should evolve the same way every modern industry evolved, by making the experience simpler, clearer, and more consumer-friendly. Because progress happens when industries stop protecting complexity and start building trust. That is what open access represents. Most companies in real estate compete on the same things: more marketing, more transactions, more recruiting. But very few companies truly own the idea of being consumer first. That position is still open. And in the long run, movements built around trust and empowerment are stronger than movements built around pressure and control. Because consumers remember how systems make them feel. The companies that win in the future will not just sell homes, they will create confidence. This has been Confidential Remarks.